Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Pimlico on Saturday is one of four stakes races on the card. Race number 9, 1 mile on the turf. It's the Grade 3 Baltimore, Washington International Turf Cup. $200,000 is the purse. And as we take a look at the field, Mike, this is a pretty evenly matched group. The morning line favorite is the number 6, Set Piece, who's returning to the scene of his most recent victory, the Grade 2 dinner party at Pimlico on Preakness Saturday. I think he can make excuses for his last two races.
Yeah, I think you can too. I agree with you that it's, a pretty well-matched field here, Dan. Personally, pace aside, and pace is always the issue with a horse like Set Piece. I feel like Set Piece's best race is the best race available in this field. And if he runs it, I think he's going to be really, really hard to beat.
Well, he has run 5 triple-digit Beyer speed figures in his career. He's won 10 of 22. He likes the course. But, Mike, you mentioned a very important handicapping factor in this race, and that's the pace. Set Piece is a one-run closer, and as we see on our Timeform US pace projector, that grade bar doesn't exactly bode well for Set Piece. Timeform US believes there's no speed in the race. Field Pass, the 4 who won this race last year, he is tactical.
Yeah, that's very true. Field Pass is a horse who could find himself on the leader if this is where he runs. He's also cross-entered into a much richer race at Kentucky Downs over the weekend. So we'll see if he decides to run here. This is to his advantage. If this is where he lands, I'm a little concerned that his recent form isn't great. But if this is where he runs, I think he's a super dangerous horse.
Trainer Chad Brown has 2 in here, both coming out of the same race at Saratoga. Let's start things off with the number 1, Public Sector, a horse that won 3 consecutive graded stakes races last year as a 3-year-old. And I talked to Brown about his 2 entrants, and he blames himself for Public Sector's sort of subpar 2022. He says he's mismanaged this horse. He entered him in the Maker's Mark Mile. He scratched him because of a pad post. And he said ever since then, he's just entered him in races where he didn't feel comfortable running him. Last time out in the Lure, he felt he wheeled him back on too short notice. He's given him more of a break here. Maybe this horse will improve.
Okay, I respect Chad for, I guess, taking the blame. I don't really see that this horse has been in the wrong races. He's run him in a bunch of grade 3s and then a restricted race last time. This horse is supposed to fit really well in those races. Personally, those last 3 starts, I'll give him a pass for the Turf Classic off the layup. Those last 3, I think they were great spots for this horse. I thought he got good trips in all those races, and I didn't think he ran well at all, and I don't like him in here.
The number 2 is Pao Alto. This is a French bred. He is a group winner in France. He is a group winner in Qatar, and he fits really well in this spot for a trainer that historically does excellent work with European imports. I talked to Graham Motion about this horse. He's a little concerned, as they are with most European horses, that maybe he won't break very well. So the other day, he just popped him out of the gate 1/8 of a mile, and he was happy with what he saw.
It's to his advantage, obviously, if he gets out of the gate well here. I like, just based on his races over there that I've seen, he's got pretty good tactical speed, this horse. He's always been up close to the pace, sitting good trips. And it also feels like, Dan, since they've decided that he's better going shorter in his most recent starts, they all cut him back to about a mile. I think his form's just improved. He just seemed to me like a horse who didn't want to go very far. This is a great distance for this horse. I think he does have the right running style. I can't say I loved his races over there, but I think he might fit in pretty well in this race.
The 3rd place finisher from his most recent start, a Group 2 at Saint-Cloud in May, came back to place in a Group 3 in France and then a Group 2 in Germany. So he's faced good competition. The 3 is Bizzee Channel. He's coming off the claim for Lacey Gaudette, but he's not a claimer per se. This is a horse with a good amount of back class. He was a graded stakes winner in 2021. He seemingly lost his way early this year. And I have to admit, I was a little disappointed with his most recent effort, Mike, at Colonial, because he looked to be traveling very sweetly on the turn. He made the lead in the stretch, and maybe he hung just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would say that about each of his last 2 starts, both at Colonial. I don't see, it's hard to imagine when you watch the replays that he didn't win not only either of those races, that he didn't win both of those races. He got great trips. He had the lead in the stretch both times. And he just did not seal the deal against weaker horses that he's going to face now. He does have the back races to be tough in here, and he's got the right running style too. But, Lacey better get him to take a step forward in here.
Field Pass is the number 4. He won this race last year. It appears Michael Maker is leaning strongly to running in this race again. And I would think that Dylan Davis is going to put Field Pass on the lead if Bizzee Channel isn't aggressively handled directly to his inside. This looked like one of the horses that just didn't appreciate that turf course at Churchill Downs last time out in the Arlington Million. It looked like a spray-painted dirt course, and he just tired very badly. He's always been an honest runner.
Yeah, I guess you got to give him a pass for that last start. His prior races leading into that, I think they're all pretty good. Like I said in the open, Dan, I feel like maybe his form isn't the best that it could be right now. You know, I know he was placed first 2 starts back, but boy, with a good trip in there, I wasn't, thrilled with that performance. He just missed 3 back, also at Churchill, a race where he got a perfect trip, and I don't know. I guess he ran okay that day. I don't know. I'm a fan of this horse. I want to use him in here if that morning line is right, but I'm a little concerned that his form might be tailing off.
Brown's other runner in the race is the 5 Sifting Sands, and this horse was a restricted stakes winner at Saratoga in 2021. He ran in the restricted lure last time out. We're going to watch that effort. Sifting Sands is going to finish second in here. Public Sector, who's also in the Baltimore-Washington International Turf Cup, finishes 4th. There was a big pace on in this race. Sifting Sands makes the front. Looks like he's on his way to win. Chad told me that he thinks this horse has a little bit of hang in him at distances over a mile.
Yeah, maybe so. He ran really well in here. He just can't hold off a horse who actually is in good form right now, Dyna Drive. I don't know. I thought Sifting Sands ran a pretty nice race there. I liked his win 2 starts back at Belmont. I know it was just an allowance race. I thought he ran really well there. And more than anything else, Dan, does he hang a little bit? I guess that's possible. I just think he's a real overachiever. This is a horse who, right from the start, basically has outrun his odds. And, we'll see. He's 4-1 on the morning line right now. Of the 2 Chad Brown horses, I much prefer this one.
He's tactical enough to stay close to the pace without them running away from him and him being compromised by a slow pace. And I think you could argue he's one of the horses in this race with the most upside potential. The 6 set piece, though, is the horse to beat, despite the pace scenario that could work against him. In the dinner party at Pimlico 3 back, he didn't break very well. The pace was a little bit faster than expected, but still not very fast. And he just blew those horses down in the stretch. He had a lot of trouble 2 back in the Forbidden Apple when Florent Giroux, decided to stay inside and hope something worked out. It just didn't. And then in the Arlington Million, that turf course, I talked to Brad Cox. He said this horse didn't like it at all.
It didn't seem like he did when you go back and watch the replay, especially early in that race. He just didn't look like he was comfortable at all traveling at the back of that pack, and he never really made a run. That's not set piece. Everything else you said, I agree with. The dinner party, that field, weaker than this one, I guess. There were a couple of nice horses in there, though, and he just won that race very easily, even after they didn't go that fast in front of him. I don't know, Dan. I do think he's the best horse in the race, but he needs a trip.
English Tavern completes this field. This horse finished first in a stakes race at Laurel 2 starts back, but was disqualified and placed second. He ran okay last time out in the Buckland Stakes, although I think this group is much tougher. He'll now step up to face graded competition for the first time, and he's the kind of horse that has the same running style as Set Piece, and even though English Tavern's a very nice horse in his own right, I don't think he'll ever convince me he's a better closer than Set Piece.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. I mean, I guess the difference there is Set Piece is 2-1, English Tavern's 20-1 on the morning line, so maybe you just want to take a flyer, but I'm with you. I don't think this horse is going to be able to outkick Set Piece unless that horse, just gets totally stopped in traffic. This horse's recent form is actually pretty good. I just don't necessarily like him in this race.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 at Pimlico on Saturday, the Baltimore-Washington International Turf Cup. Set Piece is way the horse to beat. I thought this race might be a little bit more evenly matched than you. I want a price. I want a horse that can be close to the pace. Listen, Bizzee Channel is a bit of a reach on paper, but if he can go back into the Wayback Machine, maybe he can at least crack the number at a big price.
He does have the races to do that. We'll see if he can just take a little step forward off the claim here. I'm going to stick with the favorite. I just think he's the best horse in the race, and I'm hoping that he's not too badly compromised early. I wanted to put Field Pass on top of it again. I'm not thrilled with his recent form, but I think he's the one who's going to get the right trip in here.
If not Bizzee Channel, I'm curious to see if Pao Alto sort of falls through the cracks from a wagering standpoint. And I think his races overseas stack up pretty well with some of the heavy hitters in this race. 6-5-4-2 for Mike. Bizzee Channel is very interesting for me along with Pao Alto. It should be a nice race on a fun day of racing at Pimlico with 4 stakes on the card. Good luck.